I can't believe that just happened. I was just walking down the street, minding my own business, and suddenly this portal opens up, and I fall through, and I'm here in this library. Oh, man, don't even have any of my stuff with me. Hey, you're here too? Man, we must have ended up in a portal fantasy. Well, you know what that means. We're going to have to try to navigate the social mores of a totally unfamiliar society and explore a realm vaguely familiar, yet at the same time totally unlike anything we're used to. Ugh. Well, I guess the only good news here is that we might at least get to go on a fantastic adventure. Well, good news as long as you ignore all the danger and the peril and all the things that really closely resemble danger and peril. Oh boy, well, if we're going to be here, we better make sure we're ready, so let's read some Portal Fantasy and make sure we know what to do. Hey everyone, it's Mr. Aaron. Welcome to Sweetwater Suggestions YA Edition, where, if you hadn't guessed from the intro, it's Portal Fantasy Week. I'm going to be showcasing 3 young adult books that are available at the library right now. Some are even in the digital collection. Now, just in case anyone isn't familiar, what exactly is Portal Fantasy? Let's find out. If you haven't heard of Portal Fantasy, you must have been living in Narnia for the last 100 years. Which would actually be pretty ironic, considering that Narnia is the setting of one of the most iconic Portal Fantasy series ever. In the inaugural book of that series, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, 4 siblings stumble through a wardrobe in an old house and find themselves in the magical realm of Narnia, which is under threat by the evil White Witch. For a more modern example, look no further than Beyonders, A World Without Heroes by Brandon Mull, where Jason Walker is visiting the zoo in Colorado, gets swallowed by a hippopotamus with a portal in its belly, and ends up in the mystical world of Lyrian, being hunted by a power-mad emperor. The one thing that all Portal Fantasy has in common is that the hero starts out in the normal world and, via a gateway or some other mystical means, is transported to a world very much unlike their own. Often that world is under threat in some fashion, which the hero is uniquely equipped to solve. How cool is that? So now that we know for sure what Portal Fantasy is, let's look at some teen Portal Fantasy that can transport us. Literally, in the case of the characters. The first time the nightmares came, it nearly cost Alice her life. Now she's trained to battle monstrous creatures in the dark dream realm known as Wonderland, with magic weapons and hardcore fighting skills. Yet, even warriors have a curfew. Life in real-world Atlanta isn't so simple, as Alice juggles an overprotective mom, a high-maintenance best friend, and a slipping GPA. Keeping the nightmares at bay is turning into a full-time job. But when Alice's handsome and mysterious mentor is poisoned, she has to find the antidote by venturing deeper into Wonderland than she's ever gone before. And she'll need to use everything she's learned in both worlds to keep from losing her head. Literally. If you haven't already guessed, this is a modern retelling of a children's classic, namely Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. One of the great things about that story is all of the various ways that it can be interpreted, and I have to say, this one strikes me as a darker interpretation, to be sure. If you read the Silver Trilogy that begins with Dream a Little Dream, you might find a lot to like here. Just like in that book, the main heroine gets in over her head when she's exploring the new powers that she has in a waking dream world, and in both books, she isn't necessarily excited about that prospect. Still, she needs to do it to protect others. You might also enjoy this one if you like retellings that experiment with new settings and twists on the characters. Because in this version, instead of a blonde-headed English girl, Alice is a black teen from Atlanta. You can find A Blade So Black in digital audio on Hoopla, and, don't forget, there's a sequel. Hidden deep deep in the mountains of Colorado lies the Inn at Havenfall, a sanctuary that connects ancient worlds, each with its own magic. For generations, the inn has protected all who seek refuge within its walls, and any who disrupt the peace can never return. For Maddie Morrow, summers at the inn are more than a chance to experience this magic firsthand. Havenfall is an escape from reality, where her mother sits on death row accused of murdering Maddie's brother. It's where Maddie fell in love with handsome Fjordan soldier Brecken. And it's where one day she hopes to inherit the role of innkeeper from her beloved uncle. But this summer, the impossible happens. A dead body is found, shattering everything the inn stands for. With Brecken missing, her uncle gravely injured, and a dangerous creature on the loose, Maddie suddenly finds herself responsible for the safety of everyone in Havenfall. She'll do anything to uncover the truth, even if it means working together with an alluring new staffer, Taya, who seems to know more than she's letting on. As dark secrets are revealed about the inn itself, one thing becomes clear to Maddie. No one can be trusted, and no one is safe. Okay, now if that description doesn't just send chills down your spine, I think you need to go to the doctor, because there's a pretty good chance that you, my friend, do not have a spine with which to experience said tingles, and need to be given one by a medical professional. Nevertheless, Havenfall is brand new, and the cover, I must say, is absolutely gorgeous. I think if you enjoy Holly Black, you may find something to like here. Her books often feature characters who live in parts of the world where the mystical and reality merge and mingle, and Sara Holland explores a really similar theme here. Fans of Immortal Song may also be intrigued by this, since both books feature a heroine of a magical border realm whose comfortable existence is turned upside down by the appearance of a mystic threat. Havenfall can be found in ebook on Cloud Library, but unfortunately, no digital audio through the library just yet. 5 years ago, Evelyn and Philippa Hapwell cowered from airstrikes in a London bomb shelter. But that night took a turn when the sisters were transported to another realm called the Woodlands. In a forest kingdom populated by creatures out of myth and legend, they found temporary refuge. When they finally returned to London, nothing had changed at all. Nothing except themselves. Now Eve spends her days sneaking into the woods outside their boarding school, wishing for the Woodlands. Overcome with longing, she is desperate to return, no matter what it takes. Philippa, on the other hand, is determined to find a place in this world. She shields herself behind a flawless exterior and countless friends, and moves to America to escape the memory of what was. But when Evelyn goes missing, Philippa must confront the depth of her sister's despair and the painful truths they've both been running from. As the weeks unfold, Philippa wonders if Eve truly did find a way home, or if the weight of their worlds pulled her under. Whew, now that was some heavy stuff. One thing I think is really interesting and different about this book is how it's a portal fantasy that, rather than dealing with the magical journey itself, instead it focuses on the aftermath, when the characters have already made it back to their normal world and are trying to adjust to life on the regular side of the portal again. As you might expect, some characters prefer this side and others not so much. Interestingly, if you like character-focused war novels like Salt to the Sea or mind-bending tales like Bone Gap, I think you're going to find something to like here, as our heroine does have to deal with the aftermath of the bombing of London and the mind-bending mental transformation of trying to adjust to life back in the normal world after realizing that there's another realm out there. If you're going to tackle this book, be aware that there are characters who potentially self-harm in the novel, so if you don't like that kind of content, you may want to pick something else. The Light Between Worlds is available in digital audio through Hoopla, but unfortunately no ebook available through the library just yet. Well, that's all the time that we have for this week, everybody. I hope you enjoyed hearing about these titles, and I hope even more that you decide to pick one up and give it a try. Of course, if you do, be sure to let us know down at the library what you thought. Now we'd better hurry. I think our portal just opened back up, and you know how finicky these things can be.